Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and to all the online participants, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to the Strategic Infrastructure Summit 2022. I'm Min-Soo Jung from Seoul National University Global R&DB Center. It's an honor to be serving as your MC for today. On behalf of Seoul National University Global R&DB Center and Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude for the esteemed speakers and audiences to joining us today. This year marks the second iteration of this summit under the theme of partnership between Republic of Korea and the United States of America, revitalizing global innovation frontierism. We'll address the key initiatives for the integration of innovation, leadership, and partnership as a nucleus of smart infrastructure development success. Today, the summit is conducted in a hybrid format for in-person participants here in Seoul National University Siheung Smart Campus in Republic of Korea, as well as virtual participants in Zoom. Once again, I appreciate your taking precious time out of your busy schedule to be with us. To commence the opening ceremony, we have Professor Junseok Hwang, Director of Seoul National University Global R&DB Center. He will deliver opening remarks as a host of this summit. Please join me in welcoming Professor Junseok Hwang onto the stage.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, especially our very distinguished honorable guests and speakers, and also congratulatory remarks as a special guest to all of us. I really thank you for joining our second summit, which we call Strategic Infrastructure Summit 2022. As a representative part of Republic of Korea, representing the frontier innovation by science, technology, research, development, and business with education. I believe our vision has been promoted and also prospered by having another friend from United States, represented by what we have as institution, Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute, which was founded by my friend Norman Anderson, who sadly passed away last year, but gave us the book of vision. At the same time, gave us a plan what we can do as a strategy to share global democratic prosperity. Well, you may heard a news by the leaders in all the world. Recently, G7 claimed their new order to expedite the global innovation, so-called New Global Infrastructure Initiative. And at the same time, the leaders and from both Korea and United States actually met already twice, whose one of the more common sense was frontier innovation through very alliance and more trustful relationship with each other as a one economy and as like one nation. I think we were in one of the leadership group to make those relationship building has been happened. And also we are the group who gave a nucleus information that can be strategized. Now we've officially say Korea and United States is the alliance of science and technology. This story goes back to 1945, after the World War II, a report reported to the President Roosevelt, which is called Endless Frontier Report. This report became a foundation how National Science Foundation can be built in 5 years. Those report is a Bible of frontierism. Such innovation system has been spilled over to all around the world by education and creating leaders like me, like a Professor Choi, like a Professor Prof, and like everyone we have. We have to remember that how those information and vision has been spilled over and finally diffused to now. What we are doing as a second year is in 5 years, we would have this momentum will be creating something like a NSF because we are creating Andres Frontier Report to be reported all G7 leaders. Currently, G7 and new global infrastructure leadership are seeking for not only the money, but the modality and the method. Modality, what I'm saying is that there should be a leadership group organizer or to have this complex group of the people or the country to work together and to create a community of practice to help the world where we have a very old and obsolete infrastructure, some part destroyed infrastructure. In that regard, we have a very important duty and also responsibility to rebuild back better for world. That's the message I was asked to deliver to you. At the same time, I'd like to claim as a declaration opening, we have a very stressing immediate need of infrastructure in many countries, but I'd like to name those 5 countries as a priority by country by the consensus of our expertise group and by the communication with the also diplomatic science technology group. So I'd like to name them. Those are the country. Also, who we have a student over there who get a scholarship by the Korean government for 20 years. First, the country is Ethiopia, which suffered the war, internal war, and now try to spread around and build back better, and to promote the innovation and seeking for another innovation by space science. Definitely the need of infrastructure there. Another country you may know and agree strongly, Ukraine. This country needs to be in attention for the infrastructure rebuilding because all Israel cannot be built by themselves. We need to raise and come together, go there and make it happen like we got a help from all UN countries, including United States, who help us in Chromite operation, in Incheon, in the world of Korea. June 24th is today. June 25th is everyone we remember in Korea. Is a day of Israel. But this will not remain in the day of, but now we rebuild. With such a heart of rebuild and also passion and challenging, I'd like to have this energy to go on for the rest of the world. And another 3 continents and the country should be named, including Cuba, Brazil, and Indonesia. All of them suffer in many parts of either politics and also diplomacy and earthquake. Israel has not been recovered by many reasons, and also not before by also recently because of post-pandemic. No one is caring for such need yet, and there's no capability to rebuild it back better. I'd like to name them as a representative of Korea and the United States to say our 5 countries we have to help. And I'm gonna give a report what we have done next year and in this summit and how our achievement done by the Global Infrastructure Initiative. These countries, again, by the help of the United States and Korea, will be the Ethiopia and also Indonesia and Ukraine, and Brazil, and Cuba. Hope we remember all those 5 countries in need for the infrastructure rebuilding. Hope we can celebrate the first best practice, the project with the right method, right modality, with the right money, with right man, the humankind. I hope all of us remember to be as a humanity, and this global democratic prosperity alliance is truly for the global humanity and global citizenship, which I believe which is the right smart citizenship for the world. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great, great summit day. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Professor Junseok. Thank you for your wonderful remarks. Now, for the first welcoming remarks, it's a great pleasure to invite Ms. Patricia Pietrevalle. She is a senior partner of the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute. Please give a warm welcome to Ms. Patricia Pietrevalle.
Good morning, and welcome to the second day of the second annual Strategic Infrastructure Summit. As Minsu said, my name is Patricia Pietrevalle, and I'm a senior partner at CGLA Infrastructure and the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute. The Institute is a nonprofit corporation that's headquartered in Washington, D.C., and it's dedicated to furthering the best ideas of infrastructure by fostering a collaborative community that calls on the innovation and expertise of the private sector, together with the leadership and capacity of the public sector, and the research and development from leading academic institutions like Seoul National University. I would like to thank Professor Junseok Hwang for his tremendous leadership and vision in not only bringing us all together for this summit, but also in driving this bilateral discussion on the integration of innovation, leadership, and partnership between the United States and the Republic of Korea. Later this morning, we'll be signing the Declaration of Intent, where we, and I quote, hereby jointly recognize that now is the time to integrate scientific, engineering, industrial, social, and educational breakthroughs together to frame a cohesive pathway forward. None of us would be here today if it weren't for the vision and leadership of our dear friend Norman Anderson. Norman, as the chairman and CEO of CGLA Infrastructure, was relentless in his dedication to the best ideas in infrastructure, focused on the critical infrastructure projects that were visionary to a specific country or municipality. Norman saw infrastructure as a public good, and that is something that we bring to you today from the Institute to challenge each of you to consider how the technology and innovation that we bring to smart infrastructure will have a positive impact on generations to come. In June of 2021, Norman published an article in a US publication, ENR, and he was speaking about the Biden administration and the forming of what is now known as IIJA. And he spoke and said, and I quote, "While we are on the cusp of the greatest industrial revolution since the advent of the internal combustion engine, politicians need help from infrastructure experts in making key decisions concerning this strategic infrastructure roadmap forward." So we are here today, and all of you, this is why we are here today. You are the infrastructure experts that are forming this strategic infrastructure roadmap forward for the US, for Korea, and for the global community. I would like to thank, in particular, certain members that are here in this room and joining us virtually. First, I'd like to thank Dr. KyuHong Kim, who is the Dean of the Office of the Seoul campus of Seoul National University, for hosting us today. I'd also like to recognize the participation of Dr. Han Hoon, who's the former CEO of Korea Telecom, as well as Vice President of SK Hynix, Mr. Ming Chul Park, and Secretary General of WeGo, Ms. Junseok Park, for joining us today. On the US side, I'm very pleased that we have Dr. Donald Basile, the chairman and co-CEO of R&DB DR. As a venture capitalist and entrepreneur, he'll be speaking to us about the future of semiconductor infrastructure in global innovation ecosystems. And finally, I look very much forward to introducing you to Norman Anderson's daughter, Janina Anderson, who is a senior partner alongside me and Anand Hemnani at CGLA Infrastructure and the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute. She will speak to Norman's vision and leadership in infrastructure. I would like to leave you with one invitation to let you know that our Office of CGLA Infrastructure and the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute is located in Washington, DC, and we'd like to invite all of you to come to Washington, DC and to make our office your home. We will do our best to further the Declaration of Intent and its goals and objectives, and to make its objectives clear to the US government agencies as well as to the administration at the White House. Your collaboration is key, and it is an honor to be here to listen to you and to learn from you so that we may more clearly define this vision for an infrastructure roadmap forward. Thank you very much.
Please give a big round of applause to Ms. Patricia Pietrevalle. Thank you for your visionary remarks. To give us the words of another welcome, I'd like to invite Dr. KyuHong Kim. He is the Dean of Office of Siheung Campus of Seoul National University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. KyuHong Kim.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all the guests to our Siheung campus. My name is Kyuhong Kim, being the Dean of Office of Siheung Campus. It's an honor to provide the venue for the Strategic Infrastructure Summit of 2022 here. I hope that the summit will serve as a successful forum for the advancement of global cooperation and strategic infrastructure development. As the representative of Siheung campus, let me begin by introducing to you the site where this special event is held. As you may know, our Seoul National University Siheung campus goes back to early 2000s, where the university established a long-term plan with the objective of being one of the world's top 10 universities. Back then, we had the critical mission of building a global leadership campus, preparing for the era of globalization and fostering our future generation, which fit with the global standard. Afterwards, Seoul National University decided to have the new campus in the city of Siheung, Bagot area, where Bagot means the place of education. Placed only about 30 kilometers from the main Gwanak campus and connecting with Incheon area where international accessibility could be secured, our SNU went into action and laying the groundwork for the future. Also, one of the 6 fundamental directions for Siheung campus is to the Convergence Research Campus, which promotes integration of leading technologies in the era of 4th industrial revolution. As being the least built campus, Siheung campus has diverse potentials. Not only do we have residence for the faculties and graduate students of SNU, but we also now have the Education Cooperation Building for hosting such grand summit like today. A great number of research centers are gathering in this building, including SNU Global R&DB Center. In addition, the campus can also provide the testbed for the new mobility. We claim to be the world's first case of combining and providing the testbed in the field of land, sea, and aviation in the campus level. Our mission is to expand the vision of global frontier R&D, where we utilize this research environment which integrate research and education. Currently, the first phase of constructing the smartest campus has finished, and now Seoul National University Siheung campus is moving toward to the second phase, which include constructing the landmark building, which has the functionality of doing global business, hosting an on-site campus for the international organization, and operating the innovation center, which build a network between multiple key players of industries, global institutions, and research center, possessing cutting-edge technologies. In conclusion, I appreciate the Seoul National University's Global R&DB Center and CGLA for preparing today's event. I hope that the session will lead to a fruitful discussion among the participants, and you will find many ways to cooperate with each other. On behalf of all the members in the Siheung campus, I welcome everyone to our beloved campus. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Dr. KyuHong Kim. Thank you for your insightful remarks. Now for the first congratulatory remarks, it's a great pleasure to invite Dr. Haecheon Choi. He is Vice President of Seoul National University. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Haecheon Choi.
Good morning, distinguished scholars, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Haecheon Choi, Vice President for Research and Dean of Graduate School. On behalf of Seoul National University, I am pleased to be here with you to celebrate the launch of Strategic Infrastructure Summit 2022, hosted by Seoul National University and the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute in partnerships between Korea and United States. We are very thankful to all of you who joined today and bring passion to this year's Strategic Infrastructure Summit. They are Seoul National University Global R&DB Center, the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute, the Ministry of Science and ICT of Korea, and strategic partners from Korea and the United States. The BK21 program is a human resource development program initiated by the Korean government. The objective of this program is to develop the next generation of world-class leaders in various fields, such as social sciences, engineering, natural science, as well as smart city, data science, and artificial intelligence by upgrading education and research infrastructures. At Seoul National University, we have 46 BK21 teams. One of them starts with an integrated major in smart city global convergence that is designed to cultivate smart city experts required for industry activation and overseas expansion. It is the slogan that a smart city starts with a smart education, and smart education creates smart leaders. Seoul National University Global R&DB Center is based in Gwanak campus along with the Siheung campus here. This center actively builds strategic national, regional, and global partnerships and cooperation with various stakeholders and organizations specialized in science and ICT innovation. They are networking with more than 300 science and ICT policy professionals from over 70 countries, hosting annual forums, including the Green, Smart, Development and Vision Forum and Global ICT Seoul Forum. By creating a global innovation ecosystem and disseminating innovation through education and manpower, Seoul National University has identified the most effective ways to overcome the global health crisis and promote the growth of a nation. That is why Seoul National University and its partners, including the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute and other strategic partners, have developed a leadership community of both nations' public and private sectors together. The Strategic Infrastructure Summit is going to be one of SNU's biggest annual events. And I hope all the participants here enjoy the discussions and exchange ideas and strategies on smart infrastructure and global innovation. Thank you very much.
Please give a big round of applause to Dr. Haecheon Choi. Thank you for your wonderful remarks. Now, we are pleased to have Mr. Brandon Arrington, Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners of Osceola County in Florida, to deliver the congratulatory remarks. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Brandon Arrington.
It's a pleasure and honor to be a part of today's summit. Regrettably, I'm not able to be in Korea in person. Thank you, Dr. Junseok and the Seoul National University leadership for inviting me and our county manager to be a part of this historic summit. To diversify our economy and to attract high-tech jobs, Osceola County and a local group invested over $200 million into Neo City, which is a 500-acre master plan district. We started with a clean slate and are working to create a high-tech hub for the next generation of technologies. I've heard of what Seoul National University has done in this forward-thinking Hwang Smart Campus and how this campus has brought jobs and created a new ecosystem in the region. I'm looking forward to sharing with you opportunities in Osceola County and working together with you to be a frontier in the innovation. Thank you again.
Please give a big round of applause to Mr. Brandon Arrington. Thank you for your meaningful remarks. Now, it's a great pleasure that I welcome Mrs. Janina Anderson to celebrate this summit as one of the hosts of this event. She is a senior partner of the Strategic Infrastructure Performance Institute. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Janina Anderson onto the stage.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank my hosts in SNU and GRC for the wonderful hospitality that you all have shown me the last few days and touring the incredibly impressive Smart City campus. I'm so excited to be back in November with the rest of my team and my community for the global forum that we'll be hosting together. More on that later. As Minsu mentioned, my name is Janina Anderson and I'm a senior partner at SIPI. As Patricia mentioned, SIPI is a DC-based organization dedicated to excellence in infrastructure. SIPI is independent. It has no corporate affiliation, it has no political or public loyalty, funding, or obligations whatsoever. Its only loyalty is to the best ideas in infrastructure. Its vision is singular: to improve the lives of communities and individuals through the transformative power of infrastructure and to create the world of tomorrow today. Telling the story of what SIPI is and telling the story of how I come to be standing here on this stage at the GRC and SNU in Korea cannot be separated. My father started CGLA, SIPI's parent company, 35 years ago. During this time, he built a network of experts around the world through leadership, loyalty, and trust. Trust. As we come together today from so many different parts of the world of industry, from construction, from technology, engineering, finance, academics, policy, technology, we must work together to create the underlying systems that will define our world, that do define our world. Water, energy, data, these are the lifebloods of cities, of communities, of our lives. We often speak about the importance of collaboration, but it's essential to acknowledge that there's no collaboration without trust. 8 months ago, my father became ill suddenly, and 6 months ago, he passed away. He was hospitalized 1 week before his global forum. When he was admitted to the hospital, he was scheduled to have dinner with President Biden the following night to discuss the final details of the infrastructure bill, which he was instrumental in passing. Why was he so important in passing this bill? Trust. As an independent organization, SIPI can truly advocate for what we need. And it's my honor to be able to do that here with such a powerful partner. When someone dies, it's not just a life that it's lost, but often the link between two people, between two ideas, between two networks. You don't have funerals for these things. They just disappear. But the bonds that my father spent his life building were too important to be ignored. And it's for this reason that I'm standing here today before you all. I understand the trust that my father built, and it's my honor to continue it and my duty. Unlike many of you here, I'm not an engineer. My training is not in business or in finance. I'm an artist. When my father became ill, I was a professor in Cambridge, Massachusetts, teaching art. But in the moment he became ill, I understood my responsibility to the community and the power of the leadership and connections he forged to make powerful change. It's serendipitous that my training is in art research. because it was my job to always think if there's a better way to do something, to always question assumptions. And that's exactly what we need to do when we're forging this new world. In using my creativity to manage this legacy and keep the bonds of his international multidisciplinary network alive, to continue to advance strategic infrastructure vision that we all understand here is so imperative to our world. I'm grateful for the support of Professor Hwang, the GRC, and SNU to deepen this partnership between our two organizations and our two nations in the name of building the world we want to live in. It's my first time in Korea, but already this country has a very special place in my heart. My father loved this country. He admired the resolve and the history of creative innovation, working together, strategic actions that allowed Korea to rise above so many challenges and become a leader on the world stage. It's the same history and resolve that is allowing Korea to become such a leader now in this changing world. I grew up hearing stories about Korea from my grandfather. My father's father was a US Marine Corps general. During the Korean War, he served directly under General McCarthy. He was the leader of all air support during the Battle of Haecheon, Operation Chromite's technical air coordinator. Trust and leadership. That's how you get something like that done. My father once told me that it's our responsibility in life not to do what's easy and comfortable, but to commit to doing the absolute most difficult thing we think we can do well. And that's how you make a contribution to the world. As we navigate these questions today and come from such different spheres to try and get something done, it's essential that we remember we are not here to do something easy. We are here specifically to do something hard. My father followed his own advice. And through that advice, he built a company and a network of visionaries, unlike anything in this world. He earned trust, and through that trust, he forged the partnerships with visionaries like Professor Hwang and created opportunities like this very summit for people to come together and create the world that we need. Through partnerships like these and the bonds of like-minded visionaries, we are able to continue that work and build a better world through collaboration, creativity, leadership, and trust. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Ms. Janina Anderson. Thank you for your inspirational remarks. Now, for the last but not least, congratulatory remarks. It's a great honor to invite Dr. Kiyong Choi. He's a former Minister of Ministry of Science and ICT of Korea and Emeritus Professor of Seoul National University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kiyong Choi onto the stage.
Okay, before I start, I'd like to express my sincere condolence to Dr. Norman Anderson. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and pioneers. As a former Minister of Science and ICT and Emeritus Professor at Seoul National University, I'm very honored to be here to welcome you to the Strategic Infrastructure Summit 2022. About 1 year ago, I gave a congratulatory speech at the very first event of this summit. At that time, it was held mostly online due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, it is great to see the summit held in person, and I'm very happy to give this speech directly to you rather than through a camera. In this regard, I'd like to extend my gratitude to Professor Junseok Hwang, SNU GRC, and CGLA Infrastructure for inviting me. I would also like to thank the speakers who are joining us either online or offline, and everyone who is with us today. The world has experienced unprecedented challenges from COVID-19. While the pandemic is not entirely over yet, we have mostly returned to our normal life as they were before the pandemic. Unfortunately, however, there are other challenges, maybe even bigger ones, that are waiting for us. Climate change due to greenhouse gas emissions is driving the world into a crisis. Countries constantly compete against each other to take or keep their supremacy, and developing countries suffer from the broken global supply chain and inflation that result from such competition. There may be another pandemic coming, perhaps in the near future. We hope monkeypox does not become a serious pandemic. We also hope there is no more deadly COVID variant. Accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, we are entering fast into the era of digital transformation. With the luge of digital devices, online meeting, digital commerce, self-driving cars, metaverse, you name it. They extend our lives to a limitless cyberspace. If we exploit the transformation well, then we will be able to significantly enhance the quality of our lives. However, we also need to consider the risks, including digital divide, cyber attack, and privacy invasion. To properly tackle those challenges ahead of us, we need to build up necessary infrastructure proactively. In particular, we endeavor into developing global human resources to prepare for the era of digital transformation and the fourth industrial revolution. As a part of this effort, for the past 20 years, SNU and Professor Hwang have developed the International Technology Professional Program supported by the Ministry of Science and ICT of Korea. However, to achieve a successful global change, we cannot stress enough the importance of recognizing people in need and supporting developing countries that are inevitably more vulnerable to such changes. To address this issue, the international community needs to work closely together. The US and Korea have worked together to build an international community that can prosper together. This has led to a technology alliance between the two countries, and I hope that this alliance will continue in the future. The Korean government is supporting this summit to promote the partnership between United States and Korea, and together construct an innovative strategic infrastructure in the era of great transformations. Thus, I sincerely hope that this summit would serve as a forum to share diverse ideas and views among the experts and scholars from the two countries. Once again, I would like to thank everyone here for gracing the event with your presence, and hope that this 2022 Strategic Infrastructure Summit can be a truly meaningful occasion for all of us. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Dr. Kiyong. Thank you for your thought-provoking remarks.